What is going on, everybody? It is Ploto Gaming here, and in today's video we are going to be having an exclusive interview with 93T Grand Prix leader Silentflow. For those that do not know, 93T is one of the top 8 finalists in the Grand Prix, making a very deep run trying to represent the international servers in the lower bracket. So let's see what Silent has to say in this interview. Today we are interviewing 93T leader of Grand Prix of ARC. Silent, how are you doing, man?
I'm Silentflow from Game 93. I've been playing in 93 for 6 years. I came here in 2019 and I've been planning the ARC team for 5 years now.
Wow, 5 years of ARC playing in 1093. How about your team? How long have you been playing with your team in 1093 and 93T?
About 1/3 of my team, we've been playing for 3-4 years. The other 10-15 people I wouldn't say new. I mean, I would say our newest members are like 6 months, but I would say most of the team has been playing together for 1 to 3 years now, which for like rogue standards, I'd say it's pretty long.
Yeah, pretty long indeed. The game had just having its 6-year anniversary, I believe. So
Yep.
pretty much half of the game's lifespan you've been together as a team. I'm curious though, if the team has had any major changes since season 7 of Osiris League, when you first became champions and finally got over that 1v hump.
Honestly, I wouldn't say so, because I remember when we first won, I was actually curious and I went back to look at, videos from season 4 of Osiris League. I was curious how many people we had changed. I noticed that about 15 from us, from the people that won, season 7, were still together playing. And in 93T we have, each lane has their own captain that leads the lane, and then we discuss everything. Those people, they haven't changed for a long time, like 3 years now. So we haven't really changed much. We've changed some people, sure, but I would say the overall structure of the team has remained the same for a long time now.
The voices, the leaders kind of have been in place for quite some time. It's just sometimes some players get plugged in here and there. So what is your impression of the Chinese teams compared to last season? Last season, you guys beat GY16, which were seen as tournament favorites back in the Grand Prix. Now this season, the Chinese server are all in the upper bracket, international server teams in the lower bracket. What do you think of the Chinese teams and how they've changed from one season to the next?
Obviously they've improved, which is obvious, as you can see from the results. But I would also say that they've toned it down, and what I mean by that is they're still creative, but they're less aggressive. For them it's pretty simple. They always want to play 2 arcs and they want to provision. That's it. They don't want to take risks. When we beat GY16, they tried to take our obelisk at the start, which is a very risky play. If it works out, you win the game. And if it doesn't work out, you just lose pretty hard, which is what happened with them. So I would say for this season of Grand Prix, playing it more safe, and it works out. Because for like international teams, they still rely too much on middle. Like a lot of teams will just go mid and they'll lose a lot of buildings. And even if you go mid, you can get faked and then you just end up losing the game. So I don't know. It is interesting how they play. I think it's pretty nice. We've learned a lot from them, I would say.
There's definitely been a lot of provisioning focus compared to the last Grand Prix. Compared to any Osiris League, I feel. Usually you would see 5k and that'd be an impressive number, but that seems to be the standard now for each Grand Prix match of the season. I'm kind of curious, what do you think of provisioning this season and why has there been such a big shift compared to previous seasons?
So in the past, what usually happened was you had one dedicated provisioner, who would send 4 or 5 marches. In some teams, they would have 2 provisioners split their marches, so they would have like 6-7 gatherers. But the difference this time is, I guess they figured out, because during their normal season, there is a skill called stocking up. So I guess they were testing out with provisioning, and I guess they found out that you can still have a strong opener, you can still go like hard mid, but then the people that die mid, that TP late, will send out 1 or 2 marches. Because when you do this, you bring guaranteed points to the team. Otherwise, you would have to wait 5-6 minutes for their, like refresh to come into lane. But if they were to send 1 or 2 marches to provision, it would be guaranteed 2k points each arc, and they can still like recall, then go arc again, and then send out 1 or 2 marches. So if you do this, you're always gonna have 6 to 7k points, which is basically 2 arcs. But there's like no risk to doing this. So I guess that's what has changed, honestly.
Which team or match has impressed you the most in the Grand Prix or in practice matches?
I would say like 732A has impressed me the most. I mean, they seem pretty balanced, and when I say balanced, they are very aggressive. Like for example, you have teams like 466, they are more defensive, and then they prefer to go mid. But 732A, they prefer to get their points from occupation and like taking your buildings. And if it doesn't go their way, they're like flexible, they can play mid well. And they're also a new team. I mean, I haven't heard from them since like before this Grand Prix. I've heard of like 466, GY16, A97, and yeah, this team is like, for me at least, came out of nowhere. They seem very good. Their players also seem very skilled, so I would say that team has impressed me the most, and they might actually win it all.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty unconventional with their use of hard push.
Yep, they've been using hard push after every first arc.
So pretty innovative from them. They actually beat 466S, which beat you guys and put you guys down in the lower bracket. Talking about 466S, how do you feel about your loss against them? And how did that experience shape your practices and impact the team moving forward?
Honestly, I mean, for that match, they just played better than us. We didn't provision as much, although we did expect that they would have 6 to 7k points. I mean, it was very obvious. It was kind of like a misplay on our part. I think we also committed too much for, playing first arc. So we definitely learned some things. I mean, I can say for sure that, it's going to help us. If we play against them again, that, it would help us. But we have learned a lot since playing against them, and we've started prioritizing other things now.
What have been the biggest challenges for your team this season?
I think probably finding time to practice, because, I mean, it's like end of the year now. People are more busy with work. We've been, like teams have been requesting practice with us during the weekdays, but I mean, that's not really possible for us. Like they say, we want to practice at 14 UTC, but then 14 UTC is like 7 AM for some of my players. And when I say some, it's like 10 of them. So it's been really hard to practice. And what makes it even worse is that our games have been on Saturday. Like they split up the bracket, so like half of the games are on Saturday, half are on Sunday. And we have to play on Saturday, so we don't really have much time to practice. I mean, we can practice on Sundays, but that means like we have to win our games on Saturday, so that has been the biggest challenge. I mean, it's always been an issue with international teams that, the Asian teams, they can practice 4 or 5 times per week, whereas we can only practice once or twice. But we try to manage with that. It's hard, but I still think we do a good job.
It's the different time zones and making sure all the schedules align. You said that you are 7 hours ahead of the East Coast, so that'd be 10 hours ahead from the West Coast of North America. Trying to make all those schedules line up is definitely a challenge for international teams.
People from like the West Coast, I mean, they can practice before work, but even then, like they just woke up, So even if we can get a practice match, they're still gonna, I mean, people are like sleepy, they need time to wake up, so they'll like play worse. But yeah, it's not really easy. I mean, weekends are the only time we can practice realistically.
How far do you see yourself going in this Grand Prix? What is your goal?
I mean, our goal right now is to just get better. I mean, we hope to win it, but it's probably not the case. From now on, like every opponent is like really hard. I mean, this Saturday we're playing 489. If we beat 489, then on Sunday we have to play 466. So that's like 2 games in a row. And we're like busy preparing for 489. Meanwhile, 466 can just spend their entire week, getting ready for us. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, we do have a chance, like a good chance to beat them. But then also another problem is that next week, if we do win both games this weekend, next week we have to play 2 games again. And that's when Kingsland opens for us, like on Friday. And then we have our game on Saturday. So I don't know, like the schedule is kind of bad for us this time. But, you know, I'm hoping like for the best. But we do have to keep it real.
Yeah, wow, you are going to be versing 466S, so a very, very tough bracket and bad timing for you guys. But do you have any final notes for your fans, for your teammates, your supporters? You guys start seen as the international server hopes for some people. Do you have any final notes for them?
I mean, I want to thank everyone that's supporting us. And yeah, I mean, the pressure is a lot when people say that, you know, we're the last hope for international server. It is kind of unfortunate that the international teams haven't been as good this time, and I hope that changes in the future. But yeah, I mean, can't do much about that. But we'll try our best. Like, we'll try to, you know, make the international players proud and not get bullied by the Chinese teams.
So that is it for the video. Thank you so much again to Silent for coming on to be interviewed. And if you enjoyed the content, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we will be casting on the official Rise of Kingdoms channel 489 versus 93T, the clash of the international server titans. It should be some fun casting that tomorrow, and I'll also be casting the rest of the Grand Prix. So I will catch you guys there. Peace.